So I want to talk about a sense of security. Jack Cornfield and John Travis and other Spirit Rock and Barre, Massachusetts teachers were students of the teacher Ajahn Chah. And Jack tells a story. One day, Ajahn Chah held up this beautiful teacup and he said, "To me, this cup is already broken. But because I know its fate, I can fully enjoy it here and now. And then when it's gone, it's gone." So, this message of Ajahn Chah is that once we understand the truth of uncertainty, once we relax around it, we become free. This broken cup helps us to see beyond our illusion that we can control things. We make strong commitments to do things, to create artwork, to raise a child, to create a business. And when we make these strong commitments, we want to maintain control over the things that we've created. And we get in trouble because of that. We do beautiful stuff, but then we want to control it. About a year or two ago, there was the fire in Paradise. I think it's so amazing that a town named Paradise was destroyed. It just underscores the point that even Paradise had heartbreak built into it. There was no security even in Paradise. Anyway, I met this amazing, wonderful couple who lost everything in Paradise and had moved to Auburn and are our neighbors now. She was chief of nursing at the hospital. The hospital was burned to the ground. Her car in the hospital parking lot was melted. The two of them, the husband and wife, drove out of town in his car in a tunnel of fire. They moved to Auburn and they said to me when I met them, "We are not going to be victims. We are starting life anew." I was so impressed with them that everything that they had built, they lost control of, but they weren't daunted. They weren't going to be victims. They understood how things are so very uncertain. Chogyam Trungpa, the founder of Shambhala, the teacher of Pema Chodron, he called this uncertainty groundlessness, which I think is a wonderful word for it. Because when we do feel uncertain, it's like the ground under our feet is moving and shifting and unstable. So, this groundlessness. Jack tells another story about something that happened at the monastery with Ajahn Chah. He and John and the others were all there. And there was a senior nun, and she was a student like they were. And they were all took this training from Ajahn Chah, came back to America and kind of founded American Buddhism and are the Spirit Rock and Barre, Massachusetts teachers. Anyway, this nun was very advanced, but she left the monastery before they did. And she was gone for quite a while. And when she came back for a visit, and she had converted to born again Christianity. And she came back to the monastery and tried to convert all the monks, asking them to take Jesus as their personal savior. Jack and the others were confused and upset. And they turned to Ajahn Chah and they said, how could she do this? And Ajahn Chah said, "Maybe she's right." It's a great answer. Because everything's uncertain. What do we know? And everyone heard him, and everyone smiled, and everyone relaxed. The Bhagavad Gita says the secret of life is to act without attachment to the fruits of our actions. So just the small example that always occurs to me, I lived in group houses with friends for many years, and I would clean the kitchen, and then one of my friends would come in and mess the whole thing up. And that would be my opportunity to to not be attached to the fruits of my action. Let it go, because people are going to mess it up. I did what I did, and I did it not because I want it to stay that way forever, but because it was my choice to do it, and I actually enjoyed doing it. So rather than getting mad at all my housemates, I would work on that. We all seek a sense of security. We buy insurance. We have health insurance. We have homeowners insurance if there's an earthquake or a fire or a flood. We have alarm systems if our house gets broken into. We have an app on our phone that, in case of an accident, tells the EMTs what our blood type is. I just got a new Samsung watch, and the iWatch does this too. If I fall down, my watch calls my husband. And the iWatch, if you fall down, it calls 911. But there's been a big problem with the iWatch, because when people are skiing and they're going downhill at 30 miles an hour, the iWatch has decided they're falling and it's calling 911. And it asks them first, but it's under their heavy gloves because they're skiing and everything. So they don't even know that 911 is getting called, that they're falling as they're skiing down the mountain. So there is nothing that's secure. When things go wrong, we seek comfort. All kinds of ways to seek comfort that may not be so healthy. We turn to food, alcohol, sex, drugs, money, relationships, and none of it works. The pleasure wears off. If you try to go shopping to comfort yourself when things go wrong, you can't even get the stuff home before you're disillusioned and you realize that it's not going to give you any comfort. It's still in the bag in the car before you know that this is not going to work. In Western culture, we are encouraged to take refuge in money, in stockpiling money. We take refuge in Charles Schwab. We take refuge in Citibank. But the only real refuge is in our state of mind. Quote from Ajahn Chah: "Nobody comes and nobody goes. In the middle way, there is no one who is strong or weak, young or old, no one who is born, and no one who dies. This is the unconditioned. It's like seeing through the illusion of personality and the illusion of all the details of someone, all their appearances, and just seeing that they are passing through, that we are all just passing through. We are here and then we are gone." I don't know if you remember that song, Passing Through. That's a favorite song of mine, old song. So the Zen masters talked about a state of mind where we see things for what they really are, and they called it the trusting mind. So I want to talk a little bit about the trusting mind. When we're not in the trusting mind, we strive for security. One of the ways we think we can have some security is by making everything perfect. If things are perfect, how can anything go wrong? So, but when we're in the trusting mind, we don't have this anxiety over perfection. It's been interesting because this sense of perfection is inculcated in our children. I always thought maybe it was the school systems or the parents, or somehow we get this value to make things perfect. But now I'm thinking that it's very closely related to our desire for security. If we can make everything perfect, nothing can go wrong. Remember that expression, nothing can go wrong, go wrong, go wrong? I always like that. So in the trusting mind, we don't have anxiety when things are not perfect. We don't have to struggle to perfect the world because we can rest in the imperfection. We can rest in uncertainty. And we can just realize that things are uncertain and not struggle with it. We can live with compassion and do our best. And without having attachment to the outcome, we can bring fearlessness and trust to any circumstance that arises. This state of mind is the only refuge that there is. And this state of mind is something that we can enter at any time. That's what stream entry means. That's what Mountain Stream is referring to. It's this stream, we can just step into it. The stream is constantly changing. There's no certainty about what's coming next, but it's beautiful and it's cool, clear water. We let go of all the little pins and needles and paper clips that we usually try to nail everything down with, and we step into this cool, clear water of things as they really are. And we can do that at any time. We can do that right now. We can just step into that beautiful place of the trusting mind. Buddhism says that true security lies within the triple gem, the three jewels, the refuges. And I know there have been a lot of talks lately about the refuges, and I will identify them just briefly. Let's look at them in terms of our suffering. So it's like we're sick, we're suffering. So the three jewels are the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. The Buddha is like a doctor who knows what's ailing you. He knows what your sickness is, and he knows how to treat it. The Dharma is the teachings. The Dharma is the medicine that the Buddha gives us. We take this medicine. And the Sangha, the spiritual community, helps us to take the medicine. We all take the medicine together, and we come to the trusting mind. The three refuges, you can use the three refuges to become a Buddhist. Taking the three refuges traditionally marks the entrance of a person into becoming a Buddhist. But, some people don't want a label like that. So you can just orient yourself around these three refuges as moving towards a state of mind that is peaceful and happy. It doesn't have to be a formal step, I am a Buddhist, but it can be if you want it to be. But it's a way of saying, for me, life is fragile, the body is fragile, things are uncertain, but I want to be present to that because the only other choice is to sleep through your life. So I want to be present to that uncertainty. I want to be with it. I want to maybe even enjoy it. So let's see if we can generate that intention, hold that intention, find our way to that clarity, that beautiful state of mind where we just let go. We're not attached to things or to outcomes. So we can just be with things as they are and stay with this flow as it changes. I know you've been in that state before, or you wouldn't be here tonight. People come to the practice because they've had these beautiful experiences. Those experiences are these confirmations of the practice that come to us from time to time. So let's stay with that intention to maintain that state, to step into that state and feel the joy of that state. Please join me if you can. I think it's almost 7 o'clock, and I have some more things to say, but I think, one last thing I wanted to say was that we do a lot to protect our bodies. There's so many articles and diets and things about how to eat well for your health and approaches. There are all these exercise programs that we want to want to be involved in. We've learned, most of us have learned late in life for me, how important it is to protect the body and how good that makes us feel to live in a way, to not, overdo things, and to have restraint physically with all kinds of in all kinds of areas, to get movement, to eat well, to take care of our body. But we don't have the same attitude about our mind. I think it's really important for us to understand that we need to protect a positive state of mind the same way we protect our body. With anger, when anger and aggression arise, we need to protect ourselves because those things can destroy our happiness. So if we can cultivate this purpose, this trusting mind, with a purpose to offer compassion and live to benefit others, we will protect our mind the way we've learned to protect our body. I want to define a term for you that you've probably heard, and you might not be clear about the meaning. But there's this term, bodhicitta. It's spelled Bodhichitta, bodhicitta. And this is, it has to do with compassion. Bodhicitta is a spontaneous wish to attain enlightenment, but it's not motivated by the desire for the pleasure of enlightenment for yourself. It's motivated by this great compassion for all beings and the actual falling away of the attachment of the illusion of self. So we want to be there for the Sangha. We want to help others, all sentient beings. And by the Sangha, we mean everyone here with us tonight in this Zoom room, everyone in Mountain Stream. And it spreads out. Everyone who's gone before us, everyone who's paved the way for us. All the Buddhists everywhere on this planet, and all the Buddhists through time, from the beginning. Those who surrounded the Buddha, and then their students and their students and their students, and following those lineages right down through Thailand, through Ajahn Chah, through John Jack Kornfield to us. So it's been like a physical transmission of the Sangha, and we're all connected. So, and beyond just the Buddhists, all sentient beings everywhere, with great compassion towards all sentient beings. That's what bodhicitta means. So I'm going to just stop recording.